welcome to the Binance podcast. My name is Jared Winn, and I'm your host. Day to day, I'm the Senior Vice President of Charity at Binance, and I'm very excited to share this episode with you. It goes without saying that COVID-19 is of worldwide concern at this point, and a few weeks ago, we ran a query on social media asking what questions you had for someone at the epicenter of the virus. We recently shared an episode with a colleague in Wuhan, and today we are here with Lucia, a Binance team member in Italy, to learn more about her experience and to hopefully be better prepared as we fight this pandemic. So Lucia, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Jared. Hi, everyone. Happy to be here and share my experience. Not a very nice period, but I hope that I can help other countries or other people to be prepared for the...
Absolutely. And we're very happy to have you. And it's been a whirlwind of a ride for the world, but I know that Italy was kind of second hit by this virus, and it was a very fast and very rapid onset. So I'm very interested in hearing your experience. If you could just kind of guide me through your experience from when you first heard about this virus to where you first got impacted by the virus, how was that for you?
Sure. So I heard about the virus in January. I was reading news online or watching TV as I usually do. And some media reported of the lockdown of Wuhan in China. And Wuhan has 11 million people. So I was really surprised reading that 11 million people were locked down. Yes, at the beginning really seemed something very far from Italy or from Europe. And, you know, we are used to go out, meeting friends, doing our business. So being locked down for so long time seems something very far from our reality. But very soon, unfortunately, we realized that Italy first and Europe then, and also USA now, are affected by this virus that has changed our life.
I think that you and I can both relate, being that Binance is very decentralized and we have members in China. I think that we kind of got the warning shot a little bit early. And I remember speaking with different members of the team in China and hearing about this. And I ended up buying some preparatory equipment as well as some food and things of that. Because I think that we got a little bit of insight as to what things were really like a little bit before everyone else. So we ended up getting, some toilet paper and things of that before the craze really started happening.
I don't know why people want to buy toilet paper, but in Italy, actually, there are some shortage of masks and gloves and sanitary gel. So the first thing that I tried to buy was a mask and gloves.
Yes.
In order to stay safe.
I'm curious, is the toilet paper pandemic in Italy as well? Is that a problem?
No, it's not a problem. You can find the supermarket.
Okay, so when did you start to realize that things started to become very serious for Italy? How did that happen for you?
I realized at the end of February when some area of the Lombardy region started to be completely locked down. The problem is that the virus has already spread in all Lombardy region. So even if those measures were effective in the small town, the virus already spread all around the country. And that is why after 1 week, the government decided to lock down all the country. So it was something that it was like a wave that grew on intensity. At the beginning, it was just affected smaller villages, and then all the countries was affected by the lockdown measures.
It is very quick. I remember I saw the cases starting to climb, and it went from just cities being on lockdown to the whole country. I feel like in just a period of a week, it seemed like it was very fast. How much time would you say that you had to prepare?
I think I have less than 1 week to prepare. I started to buy more food at the supermarket. I started to go to the drugstore or pharmacy and ask for mask and gloves. I also ordered some masks because there was already a shortage of it, and there is still a shortage now.
Yeah, I ran into the same thing, and I tried to buy some N95 masks, and I thought that I found a vendor who had them, and a week later they emailed me saying that they were out of stock, and I never had the chance to get any. So And now we're receiving these orders that the masks are for the sick and everything else, but really it's just such a massive shortage. And we're obviously at Binance, we're trying to get, as part of the Crypto Against COVID campaign, we're trying to get masks out to those hospitals and those people in need. And you've actually helped us quite a bit with that regard in Italy specifically. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I know. Thank you very much for the support of the BCF. Maybe next week we will be able to ship 400,000 masks and 10,000 suites in Italy.
I can only hope that we manage to execute on that, because not only is it a matter of finding the masks and finding the suits, I think that what people don't realize as well is that customs and shipping and logistics end up coming into a big part of this, in which there have been hundreds and thousands and even millions of masks and things of that have been locked in customs or otherwise returned, because there's either a lack of certification, or customs at this point is so overwhelmed or afraid of the spread of the virus that they just aren't accepting these. So it's a unique element, and it's definitely not helping with the situation.
I think the virus also will cut down some boundaries that now we have, and will make the world more fluid and less centralized.
I agree. I think that rules are being bent in this situation. And it's just like I was saying to my family the other day, is that out of this situation, there's been a lot of friction, and new things have happened that might have taken years and years to occur, in which my kindergartner and my second grader are actually now doing distance learning. They're taking all of their courses online, and they're able to see their teacher online. And these are things that we wouldn't have seen for, I believe, many years. But now as a result of this, we're kind of leapfrogging some of this time. So we can only hope that there will be some good out of this tragedy that arises. But how long now have you been impacted specifically? I think you were saying it's been close to a month now, correct? In quarantine?
Yes, it has been almost 1 month. It started at the 9th of March. Now it's the 2nd of April, but this measure will last until the after Easter, because people during Easter holidays normally move. They want to go to the sea. They want to have a big lunch with their families, but in this moment it's not possible. Otherwise, all the measures that have been taken will be lost their all the results. So we need to be patient a little bit more, but it starts to be a little bit harder now, because spring is coming, nice days, nice evenings,
Nice days,
and you have
you
to
see
be
them,
locked down.
and you see them through a window basically at this point.
Yes.
So I think everybody's seen the videos, but are you one of the people that go out onto your patio and sing?
I listen, but I'm not a very good singer, but I listen the music outside the window, and also I listen to a lot of famous YouTubers who broadcast their live via social media like Instagram. So yes, also famous musicians start to do like that, and it was very nice to listen to that.
Absolutely. And it's the little things that we start to appreciate so much more now. And in terms of your quarantine, what are your restrictions? Are you allowed to go on walks? Are you allowed to go to the store? What are your restrictions? Because I know that it varies from country to country.
Exactly. They are not so strict as the one that China has taken. But for example, we need to stay at home as much as we can. That is the basic rule. So we can only go out to buy food for emergency or urgent needs. And basically, we are not allowed to move for more than 200 meters far from our house, if we want just to ever walk. But this doesn't make sense. So at the end, I stay at home all the time.
At that point, so I know that in America, or California specifically, the term social distancing has been popular, in which you're supposed to remain 6 feet away or 2 meters away from somebody, and ideally really not leave your house except for the necessities. But in this case, I see a lot of people outside walking and enjoying nature and walking their pets. And it's just a lot more of an appreciation of the outdoors. It's one of those grass is always greener situations.
Yeah, I think social habits will change after the coronavirus, but especially for Mediterranean country like Italy or Spain, we are very used to walk very close to a friend. We are used to use our hands to communicate, to touch each other also. So I think this is maybe one of the reasons why the virus has spread so much. We live really very close to each other, and we really miss the human touch and contact now.
You know, that's a unique perspective that I didn't think about. And in Italy, Italians are very animated in the way that they speak to each other. And then you've got the kisses on the sides of the cheeks and all of that. So it only that's a very unique perspective. In terms of Italy, do you have any insight as to why the death rate seems so much higher than other countries? Because I think that that's one thing that everybody is looking at right now. And I know initially it was about a 10% death rate, which was pretty staggering. And there was rumor as to, you know, perhaps it's a percentage of elderly population. What do you think is the reason for this high death rate?
Yes, right. So elderly population can be a reason. Lack of ICU units can be another reason. I think also that in general, you live very, very well in Italy. So people aged for a long time. And when a disaster like the coronavirus happens, of course, the most weak population is affected immediately. So I don't think there are so many older people like in Italy in the world, because you live very well in my country. The weather is good, the food is good, and yes, the lifestyle is different from the most dynamic and cosmopolitan country. So if there was not the coronavirus, there is the chance to live for a lot of decades very well.
Sure, sure. And I know that in America as well as in Wuhan, there was almost a warning shot that was fired in which people knew that a lockdown was coming and had the opportunity to disperse away from the main areas that were affected. Do you wish that there was anything done differently in the process of quarantining, or is there anything that you wish that you would have done better to prepare?
Not me personally, because I tried to prepare myself the best as I could. Maybe both in advance some mask, but I mean it seems something so far at the beginning. But of course, people should stay at home and not leave their city or their home, because that makes the quarantine longer and doesn't help anybody.
No, it absolutely doesn't. So would you say at this point, you know, I mentioned earlier the videos of people singing on their balconies and everything else, it seemed very Italy. But at this point, what would you say that the overall mood is 30 days into this? How are people feeling now?
Yes, so the industry indicators are not very good in my country, of course. So workers like freelancer or contractors who aren't working in this period are asking for a gradual reopening of the business activities. The government has released a bonus for those workers. And funny fact, yesterday the website of the agency in charge of the distribution of those bonuses was overwhelmed by applications and went down. And it was a problem of balancing load. So like when in Binance there are so many traders because the price of Bitcoin has risen $10,000.
Supply and demand, right?
Yes. But so the funny thing is that yesterday Pornhub released a tweet that was very successful, and saying that if the government agency needs any help, they are willing to help with their servers that can manage a heavy load
Oh, wow.
balance.
So
So yes, people need money, but also you have to remember Italy is the Renaissance homeland. So we sing because we always try to find something positive, and I'm sure, or I hope, this period will pass and will allow our government to have more tech, less bureaucracy, and more decentralization. So a more modern country.
absolutely. So what top recommendations do you have for people in other countries who are not quarantined or are not necessarily taking the situation as seriously as they should?
A globalized world is an interconnected world. So sooner or later, everybody will be affected. So apply social distancing and sanitary measure such as wearing mask the sooner you get out of coronavirus.
Agreed. Agreed. Do you know anyone personally who's been affected by the virus?
I know some parents of my friends who are doctors, and I have a lot of doctors among that are very close friends who work every day with coronavirus patients, and they are okay for the moment, but I pray for them every night because I'm really concerned. This virus is it's very easy to take the coronavirus because you just need to touch somebody, and there is a high risk that you take it.
Yes, and that's one of the larger risks is the rate of transmission of this, as well as the dormancy period. That's been a big concern, is which a lot of people won't even know that they have this, but they can be a carrier of it. So that's kind of one of the big issues is that you never know you have it, and then you've already spread it to 3 people.
Exactly. So that is why we need to apply social distancing, even if we are okay, even if we are healthy. But maybe you come back home to your older parents, and they are less stronger than you. So you need to apply these measures also for your family, not just for you.
Right. Agreed. So what at this point, what can the world do to support Italy? What are the best ways that people can help?
Um, I mean, of course, we need the mask, protective suits, medical equipment, a medical team, and many charity organizations such as the Binance Charity are supporting Italy. And hopefully, as I said before, next week a cargo will land in Milan with 400,000 masks and 10,000 protective suits. And I would like to thank you, Jared, Ellen, Simon, Zoe, all the wonderful people in Binance Charity. So on a broad perspective, we need to keep the attention high and take care of the most vulnerable people from an economic and sanitary point of view, especially after the peak of this disease will be reached. And also maybe take more into consideration our doctors.
The unsung heroes, the ones that are definitely putting themselves at risk as we're trying to combat this. And I can only hope that more support and more aid and a greater appreciation for their work will be a result of this entire situation. Well, Lucy, this has been a really great opportunity speaking with you, and I wanted to thank you for your time on this. Was there anything else that you wanted to say or anything else you wanted to share with our listeners?
I just would like to say that we need to be patient to implement these measures, pray and think when we feel a little bit sick or sad, and try to have a daily routine, which is very important to keep ourselves healthy and mentally safe, and just keep going what you was doing before the coronavirus. It will pass in the end.
I completely agree. So, Lucia, thank you so much for taking the time to tell your story today and the advice that you've shared with us.
Thank you, Jared.
This has been the Ask Italy episode of the Binance podcast, and thank you for listening.